Hello. Wow. Look at that.
Por aquí ese pueden subir arriba. ¿Queréis subir al campanario? El campanario. Yo ya subí, ya estamos subiendo allí lo que se denomina el suelo
All right. So today we're taking a tour of Gaudi. Should be an interesting one. I am what seemed to be one of the busiest places. I'm at what seemed to be one of the busiest places around. Lots of people walking around all the freaking time. I'm talking like lots of people. Not even a handful. I'm talking like tons of people. They just walk around. Well, not walking around for such. I'm sure they've got destinations. But yeah, lots of people. All sorts. If you're into people like watching like me, this is like prime real estate. You see all sorts of fashion, all sorts of personalities, shapes, skin color. Well, less variation on skin tones, but quite a variation on peoples. But yeah, quite an interesting place. So I'm just gonna let this run for a minute or two, just so you get a feel of what is like, and the type of people that you can just see just by standing here and watching. There's a whole bunch of people coming through now. Lots of people. Bronco.
These fries, they're all quite inconsistent.
They are. FYI, I am recording. I feel like my bag is open in some capacity. Is it? Where is it?
Excuse me, they need to change names. You're not working stuff.
Sorry? No, I had it. I was starting to take it off. It's just that I felt like one strap was on backwards. That's what made it feel funny. It was far less about the openness, it seems. But I guess because I'm so used to my bag feeling a certain way, the moment it didn't feel that way, I was like, something is off here. Sorry? That's concerning. Partial victory. I think we might as well cross, because I do believe we're going diagonally, so we can find a way to cut through the park area. It would be wise. Right. Mm-hmm. So many rats in one place. Wait. I think it's that corner we need to be. Hold on. Let me just confirm. Let's get all this thing. No, I was right. It is that side. It's that corner. Now let me go read the email and see what it says.
No, purple umbrella. Oh, I see a purple umbrella there.
Okay, there we go. That's yeah, I think that's I can't believe somebody would actually want to sit with all those vermins. I know, like she's actually letting those things like go all over her. Shocking. They have no idea of what they're doing. They know not. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. Okay, cool. I hope this is a reflection of the size of the group. I'm trying to get a bit of B-roll of just people. A bit of B-roll of just people. So that because it gives me opportunity to have like just to show and like I say and don't worry, I'll mute the sound for some of these places. I got choices. Pretty interesting seeing the different peoples. 4 minutes before this lady comes. Yeah, the question of identity has changed so much over time.
Yeah, so yes. Did you know Spanish before you moved?
Oh, okay, I'm impressed.
Inspiring me.
Very nice language to try to learn. First of all, it's a beautiful language. Secondly, it's easily especially kind of word communication level, like response, like properly, I try like that to French, for example. And whenever I try to pronounce something, they're like, no,
Sorry, we have a few rules, but one of the most important one is that if you stand kind of in front of me, then you will see better what is behind me, and it's a very visual tour. I have seen those things before, so I'm looking at you because you're pretty people, but you better look behind me, okay? Anyways, what's happening here? You are now in the neighborhood called Eixample. When you write it down, it looks like it's example with an I in the middle. You may have seen that on the map. Eixample, this means extension. This neighborhood that we are now in is an extension of Barcelona, simply up until the middle of 19th century. Not that long time ago, 150 years ago. You come here to Barcelona, and we would be standing here in the middle of nowhere, on like big empty fields with some random cows and animals running around. And somewhere there, you would be able to see big medieval walls surrounding a tiny city, which Barcelona was back then. But a huge industrial revolution hits. An industrial revolution in Spain mostly starts sort of explodes here in Barcelona. It was a very empty city, so you could actually build factories inside. It's a port city, which is super useful. Industry causes tons of migration. To tiny little Barcelona, thousands of people every single day are moving in to work here. Have you been already in the old city? Some of you for sure have been. Old town of Barcelona, in general, like European old towns. Tiny little streets.
Yeah.
Lovely, beautiful. But imagine that with thousands of people every single day moving in to live there. Imagine the crowd. Imagine the dirt. Imagine the noise. Imagine the smell. Better not imagine maybe this one. But it was very quickly pretty much impossible to live there. Hello. With the rest of Australian group joining. It was impossible to live in the old city. Very quickly the situation, the conditions of life being so horrible, people knew we have to do something with Barcelona. We have to build more of Barcelona. And this is a simple explanation how all that happened. But before they just like that started, building here in these neighborhoods, luckily for everyone, they took a deep breath and they're like, okay, how are we gonna build this new Barcelona? Maybe there should be some thought behind it. Maybe it should be more organized. And they actually did something quite new, quite forward thinking back for the day. They did a competition for the design of this extension of the city. And this competition was won by one of the most important men in the history of the city, which I'm pretty sure you have never heard about before. His name is Ildefons Cerdà. No? Gaudí? Uh-huh. Gaudí was just one guy in a few houses. Ildefons Cerdà is the brain behind it all. He was an engineer, and he says, with his design, I've been living myself in the old city, I've suffered myself from horrible conditions of life, I want this new part of Barcelona be a part which brings good conditions of life to the people, so the working class doesn't have to suffer anymore, so we bring good conditions of life to people. So he designs Eixample as an opposition to what the old city used to be. So here the streets are not winding like crazy, and they are not tiny and narrow. They are really big streets, wide, and they are super straight and crisscrossing. So it doesn't matter where you live, every single street is the same, there is equality, and there's lots of space, lots of air, lots of light, lots of breeze. It's just more space to breathe and to live. It makes few different rules have to make sure that this works. For example, a rule which says that buildings in Eixample cannot be taller than the streets are wide. So you have natural light always entering from one another side. Another rule is that behind those blocks of buildings that you see, let's say inside of them, there's a very big open space, like a big internal garden. So if you have apartment with the windows towards this patio, this garden, they are in the center of the city and you have windows to the garden. Beautiful. The corners of the street, the crossings, look at the corners of the buildings here, where you are standing now. All those buildings, they don't have 90-degree edge, they're all cut, right? To create extra open space of every single crossroads, which is also one of the most annoying things about Eixample. I know if you tried already to walk straight in this neighborhood, exactly. You never can walk straight because you always have to walk straight around the cut edge, then you cross, then around the cut edge, then straight. Ildefons Cerdà, remember his fault. But anyway, all these rules, all this place to make sure that people live in Barcelona better. Beautiful. Did his idea work? What do you think? Did it work?
Yeah.
Just like that? Okay, look around again and tell me, does this neighborhood look like a neighborhood for the poor working class of Barcelona?
Absolutely not.
It may look like he wanted, but it did not serve the purpose that he wanted, because poor working class of Barcelona, for whom this was designed, never moved here. this, from the very beginning until now, is the most expensive part of Barcelona. The street which we will be walking up, one of the most expensive streets of all Spain, is the rich people, the owners of the factories, who had enough money to move in here. So obviously the poor workers stayed in the old crappy city. Who cares about them? New city for the rich people. And people in Barcelona have so much money by the end of the 19th century. They honestly started spending in a very weird, random ways. Because they had too much to be reasonable with that. So apart from spending on some other, industry development and whatnot, they started spending money on art. They would order a lot of portraits, so art explodes back then a lot here. Many of them would order from poets poems about them. When you're rich, you may want to have a poem written about you, why not, right? Boom, poetry develops. And one part of these interesting ways of spending money by the rich at the end of the 19th century here was the architecture. Some of these people were like, oh, a nice house we have, but it's a bit boring. Could be something more. So what about we pay this crazy architect and just let him do what he wants a little bit, right? And this is how you have Catalan modernista style of architecture developed. End of the 19th century, result of all that growth, all this development, all this money. So you have the base now. We will be now walking up. I'll find for you the first example of Catalan modernista style, a building that we can read together. So you learn how to read those buildings. This is not going to be a famous house, because you would get too excited from the beginning. I don't want that. So first you have to focus, and then we go for the exciting houses. Okay, sounds like a plan? Let's go.